Hey everybody, Dustin DePirac here, columnist Jeremy Price. We brought the ginger back for this one. Anyway, so IU played Mount St. Mary's tonight, and IU did to Mount St. Mary's what you think they did to Mount St. Mary's tonight. 93 to 54 final, just sort of, for a while it obviously started slow. It was, I think, 30-26 with 5:39 to go in the first half. And after that, it was just a complete, utter and total, beatdown, more or less. I think it was a 34 to 5 run at that point, and it really was taking out every bit of frustration that goes back to Butler and goes back to what was apparently, according to Will Sheehy, a not fun week of practice this week. Guys, was this pretty much what you expected? Did they more or less do what you thought they were going to do today?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure I would have bought the 70.6% field goal shooting.
Yeah.
That was a little...
It seems strange because they had 19 turnovers and there was a lot of sloppiness, but yet you look at that number at the end and you can't argue with it. It's a fact. They shot 7.6% from the field.
And they missed
almost set a school record.
A bunch of layups in the first 5-10 minutes of the game, too. So had they made some of those, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, and it kind of went to that shot selection. Tom Crean talked about poor shot selection, and, two-point jump shots are statistically the worst shot you can take in basketball for most people, unless you're a guy like Will Sheehy who just kind of has that mid-range
game, yeah.
And they took a lot of those against Butler today, 9 of 12 from behind the arc.
50 points in the paint.
You don't always go 9 of 12, but the three-point shot, if the right guys are taking it, is actually a pretty efficient shot. And
it's more effective, numerically,
And
if you're going to take a jumper, it should be for
50
three.
points in the paint. There were a lot of layups. We heard a lot about the press. There were times where Indiana broke Mount St. Mary's press. When Mount St. Mary's could even get into its press because it only made 17 field goals tonight.
Right.
There were times where Indiana broke that press, seriously, like they weren't on the floor. Like there was, like they were just going through 5-on-none.
Yeah, that's actually what it was like.
Drills. 27 assists on 36 made baskets. It was just
23 points in the break.
Vintage, the best of what we've seen from Indiana, especially in these, these kind of rollover games in the last couple of years.
Right. There was this notion of coming in. Mount St. Mary's coach Jamie Christian was a Shaka Smart assistant last year. He really likes to play up tempo. He's also played for some other guys or coached for some other guys down back to the D3 level that like to play a just ridiculously fast style. But it may have been the same design as the VCU press, but it did not remind, I don't think, any of us at all of the VCU press. Obviously, it's different when you have Virginia Commonwealth's athletes because they've got a lot of those guys who are really, really long, and they've been doing that stuff for a long time. But this didn't really, serve as a great preparation, I don't think, for if they were to go up against Virginia Commonwealth somehow again, which would be a magical draw, but still, regardless. That wouldn't happen. Well, it would be, yeah. The point being is it's highly unlikely that could happen again. I don't see that being the draw. But one way or another, if they were to end up in that situation, I don't think this really prepared them for that. But the rebounding, I think, was a lot better. Obviously, again, it was against a team that was overmatched. This team did not have anything in common with Butler either. But I think you obviously saw that they responded to what they were asked in terms of rebounding all week.
Well, there was one moment that stood out for me with Christian Watford where he went up. And he was he was not in good position, I think, just because of where the ball was going to get a rebound. And I have no idea which Mount St. Mary's player was contesting for the ball. But he put two hands on it, and Watford just smacked it out of his hands. And it hit the backboard, came back, and Watford caught it. And it was just kind of one of those moments that we really didn't see against Butler. And I know it's easier to do against Mount St. Mary's, obviously, but just kind of that moment of focus and that moment of just kind of quick wit to not just give up on the rebound when it looks like maybe you don't have the best chance at it, but to just, it had to be a little bit of instinct, but you just kind of think, bam, now I'm in a better position to make the rebound. It looked like Indiana certainly was scrapping harder for rebounds tonight, but it also just looked like they were just kind of more locked into that part of the game.
You get the impression that's what they were doing all week.
Yes.
Basically, it's just rebounding all the time, and it was just getting beat into them. And they were doing two-a-days this week because it's semester's over. There's no NCAA limit on hours. You can practice as much as you want, do as much as you want. They're not doing anything else. So they were at least doing two-a-days. I don't know if there was more than that, but I know that much. So they were getting beat up, and I think that was part of the reason they had a slow start because I think they were shaking off some fatigue. Nobody would say that, but that's what it looked like to me. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I just thought the rebounding, like you said, I mean,
Mm.
it was intent born out of the fact that it's been drilled into you into practice,
Mm.
and
And
when
you
that
can't
happens,
have a bad day at rebounding.
when
in
that
this game
happens,
if you're them.
you know, the ball goes up there, and you're thinking to yourself, I've got to find a way to get this, or knock it away, or something, or I'm going to get reamed,
Or
and we're
tomorrow's
going to be
going to be
doing
miserable again.
more of the same drills that I already hate.
Yeah,
So,
pretty much.
Well, and you know, for all the coach speak that we get talking about the importance of rebounding, I mean, for Indiana, it's very important, and I think that, you know, just the way they want to run the floor, they want
very
to
much
get
so.
rebounds, they want to outlet them quickly, they want to get the ball down the floor, and if they don't get rebounds, or if they're lazy with rebounds, you know, second chance opportunities are not only opportunities for the other team to score, obviously, you know, but they're also missed opportunities to get your offense going. And I think there almost were moments in that Butler game where it felt like where Indiana was just everybody was just kind of waiting for the offense to start speeding up. Nobody was standing around, guys were playing hard, but you didn't get the feeling that anybody was really kind of grabbing hold of the rest of the team and just sort of dragging them, other than Victor Oladipo at certain points, and just really kind of dragging the pace of play up. I think you saw that tonight, just kind of that focus on not maybe waiting for someone else to affect that change in the offense, but doing it yourself. I think Christian Watford did it very well. Victor Oladipo did it well. Obviously, Yogi Ferrell had 9 assists. He did it very, very well. You know, there just kind of seemed to be a renewed sense of this is how we are at our best. And obviously, again, against an opponent like this, it's not that hard.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's an NEC team. I don't think Mount St. Mary's is bad for where they are, but this is not what they're going to have to play. I think, obviously, big part of the story today was who played and who didn't. First off, to the guys that did, you saw Hunter Mosquera-Perea again for the second game, and Derek Elson was back. It was a little bit of a surprise. Tom Crean had said for a while he was expecting after Christmas, but Steve McLean threw out the possibility. Was it Tom? No, Kenny Johnson threw out the possibility. I keep forgetting that. Everyone's kind of dropped a little bit of a hint of when Derek Elson could come back, and Kenny Johnson said something, and then Tom Crean said something on his radio show Monday night. That's what it was, saying that it was possible maybe that Derek could get back this week, and he did. He got back, was on. He played 9 minutes. You know, got a field goal, couple rebounds, committed an offensive foul, got a block. The block was big. I think the block obviously was something that you know, got everybody excited that he really swatted one in the third or fourth row. And we got to talk to Derek tonight. Derek was our favorite interview of the night by a long shot for a number of reasons. We missed you, Derek. We did. But he seemed, you know, I mean, he's expecting to be sore in the morning. You know, Tim Garl apparently told him, you're going to be just, you know, it's fine. But he seemed like what he's going to be, I guess. I mean, like, I'm sure he's got to get back to health, get back to conditioning. But he looks like he's doing what he's going to be expected to do.
yeah, I think it's just a matter of conditioning and confidence for him to get back to doing what he needs to do. But he and Perea both are two guys that bring something this team's going to need. The rebounding we were just talking about, those guys are going to be very key in terms of that, and just providing some front court depth, especially in light of who didn't play tonight.
Right. So yeah, Jeremy Hollowell and Peter Jerkin did not play tonight, and we're not totally sure why. Tom mentioned the idea early on that there was some sickness basically going on. Obviously, on top of that, Maurice Creek had his foot injury. It came out earlier today, and he's going to be out for a little while. They're not saying how long. It's indefinite. It doesn't sound like anything season-ending, but I imagine the way they're talking about it sounds like a couple weeks. But he said something about sickness, but then someone asked directly, okay, well, is that what you mean? Or were Peter and Jeremy sick? And he pretty much just said he gave a strange answer the first time and said there was a lot of things we were dealing with this week. Eventually he said, I played the guys that I played, which obviously is unarguable, but not an explanation. It's a fact, but yet that doesn't tell us why he didn't play. So we really don't know what that means. I mean, obviously, you can speculate in a few different ways. The semester just ended. You can read from that what you will. And also, I mean, Peter Jerkin has not played yet. The red shirt's still on the table.
Yeah, an intention. Because you don't have to declare that sort of thing.
You just don't play him. He's a 7-footer. He's a guy obviously came from the Sudan. Not quite a refined game. He's more refined than some other guys that have come from Mayhope that we've seen before. But maybe not there yet. Maybe he wants another year. But not totally sure. He didn't really explain it. And
Well, and
yeah.
even if he is, I think it may be a situation too in that case where maybe he is there to an extent, but you just don't feel like with Elson coming back, with Perea, with
It's not. Yeah, it's not
with
necessary.
Watford, with Zeller. Maybe give him the extra year to work on his game and not have to burn his red shirt, and then you've got a guy who's a redshirt freshman next year.
Right, exactly. Then you get 4 legitimately really good years out of him. Where in this case, you're gonna get maybe a couple minutes a game if that's all it is. So again, not totally sure what that is, but yeah, it is what it is. So that didn't make any sense now that I think about it. But one way or another, they got another one of these, 2 more of these non-conference games that are going to be ever so thrilling and ever so close, I'm sure. And then New Year's at Iowa finally start some conference play. So thanks as always, everybody.